When you ask for feedback, you take power. I mean, the reality is that the way we perceive ourselves is very different than the way others perceive us. All of my friends and family and my colleagues are talking about layoffs that are happening. They're seeing it all over the news.
How do we handle or tackle such situations? Hello, everyone. How are we doing? We have an amazing guest today. She is a leadership consultant and a coach. She believes in continuous learning and personal growth. Ariana Ruiz helps professionals to unlock their full potential. So get ready for some great insights on leadership, strategies, growth, and more. Let's welcome Ariana Ruiz. Hi, Ariana. Welcome to Infinite Icons.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here on Infinite Icons. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm excited to be with you here with you today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. So much fun. So, whereabouts in the country are you coming to us from?
So I am in Connecticut. I actually still identify as a New Yorker. I'm born and raised in New York and moved to Connecticut a few years ago, but I'm right on the New York line. So, and a lot of my coaching clients and my workshops are facilitated in New York as well.
Yeah. All right. So, please do tell us a little more about yourself and your business.
Sure. So my name is Ariana Ruiz, and I am a leadership coach. I also do facilitation on leadership courses and workshops for different organizations. So my background is primarily in startups, retail, and also manufacturing. And about a year ago, I started my own business, and I've been partnering with different organizations, but also individuals that are looking for a little bit of a change. So either they're really just kind of questioning their leadership style and they want to grow, or potentially they're looking for a little bit of career clarity. So I support those leaders by developing a 6-month coaching plan with them. And my style is a little bit different, where I implement tools and templates, and we work on an action plan so that they can achieve their goals by the end of our coaching session together.
All right. So, it is called Ruiz HR Services. Am I right?
It is, yes, yes. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well. And I'm doing my best to kind of post a lot of leadership content that hopefully is useful to you all.
I do read your content. It's beautiful and very, very encouraging. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you, thank you.
All right. So, to start with, what is the basic qualification or what does it take to be an HR personnel?
What does it take to be an HR professional? I think, there are many different ways to do that. I mean, personally, my track to HR was through operations. And I know a lot of HR professionals actually that have, been able to refine their expertise with on the job training. So if you are an individual that maybe is from operations or finance, but you have an interest in HR, there absolutely are opportunities for you to transition into HR, and you do have those transferable skills. However, there are a lot of individuals that either take courses or have degrees specifically for HR. There are also some great certifications out there. Specifically, one of my favorites is SHRM, where you'll be able to kind of get some additional, HR credentials along with continuous education.
Got it. Got it. So, what role does leadership play in forming a company's culture and also, employee satisfaction?
Man, that is like such a big question. I really say it's everything, right? If you are at a company and you love, even if you're an employee and you're at a company and you love going to work every day, it's most likely because there's great leaders. And then conversely, if you're talking to your friends and one of your friends is talking about work and they're just unhappy, or maybe they're looking for another job, it's most likely because of leadership. So when I'm talking to clients about leadership workshops, my first question is around, do your leaders want learning and development, right? Do they think that there's a level of improvement that needs to happen? Because you're not going to be able to influence and make transformational change around culture from the bottom up. It really happens with the leaders. It's really a top-down approach.
So true. I know. It's usually, job satisfaction starts with, from, and by the leaders. So
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, it is. And, I think there's many stats out there that say that people don't quit jobs, they quit leaders, right? So, and that has, I've seen that's true in my experience where I've moved to different organizations and I've reached out to my old team members that have worked with me elsewhere and brought them along with me. And I'm really proud of that because that means ultimately that my team members have enjoyed my leadership style so much so that they're okay or open to transitioning to a different organization.
hmm And you have been in multiple organizations, say massive organizations to startups to small and medium-sized organizations as well. So, what was the striking difference or commonalities between these different places you worked as?
Such a good
Worked
question.
at?
When I was at my time at Whole Foods Amazon, and at that time, we were an organization of over 100,000 employees. I was overseeing HR for about 10,000 employees. And then I went from such a large organization and then I went to an actual startup. And when I joined that organization, they were at 150 employees. So I think some of the learnings that I realize, I talk to candidates all the time and they'll say, oh, I just want to go to a larger organization because this organization is so disorganized and they're so behind. The software is just terrible. And if I went to a larger organization, they would have everything figured out already. And I can tell you by being a part of one of the largest organizations, Amazon, that that's not true, actually. Like those organizations are just as disorganized as smaller, right? So it really more depends on your style, right? So what I love to do, my sweet spot is I love solving problems, right? So if an organization is looking for someone to build something, maybe build a new program or build a new team, and those are the things that excite me. So I was able to do that type of work at all three organizations, going from 150 employees all the way up to 10,000 employees. So I think the biggest myth is that larger organizations are perfect, they're structured, they have everything in place, and that is not true at all. They don't. All organizations have opportunity, especially around software and just communication. And so it's really about you as the individual and how you adapt to those different styles.
Man, technology and software, it's always evolving. So
Yes.
you cannot have a solid format for anything. You
You
have to grow with it.
That's so true because I mean, if you think about just the transformation of AI and there's just so many things that are constantly moving and changing. So it can be challenging for organizations to stay on top of all of those different trends. And also be able to train their employees too, right? To deal with that software and integration. There's a lot of different challenges that come up.
Right. And talking about the employees and stuff. So, what role does psychology hold in the coaching and the training field?
I think that, it's all people at the end of the day, right? Like when we talk about organizations, if we don't have the people, we don't have businesses. So what I think HR leaders are challenged with is really all the things that are happening on the outside in the world, right? And I think longer the days where, I'm sure you've heard this too, where individuals may say, oh, leave your problems at the door when you come to work. And that's not true anymore. Individuals really have a blended life, especially when you even think about hybrid work, right? People are working differently in remote settings, maybe 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week, they're going into the office. And that work, again, it's a blended. So we're dealing with people. People are feeling anxious. They're dealing with just a lot of anxiety, a lot of personal issues, and our leaders and our HR, our team, are really faced with helping and supporting them through that, which is a little bit out of our scope, right? When you think about the workplace, but ultimately our team members are in need, and the world is getting challenging. There's a lot of things in the news, and all those things are just employees are bringing that into the workplace, and HR leaders are having to help and support them.
Got you. And let's suppose somebody just out of college or something, they are starting a HR-based side hustle. So,
Mm,
what are the best tools and technology or platforms do you suggest to them?
Sure. If they are thinking about an HR side hustle, I would say, first thing is to just really start networking, right? Even if it's just individuals that through someone. Something that I love to do too is maybe you have a connection and you jump and you have like a little coffee chat with them where you can ask them, hey, is there anyone in your network that you think would help me in my career or my aspirations into continuing to move into HR, or help me with my side hustle, right? So just kind of finding ways to network more would probably be my first, and then really figuring out, what do you want to do in HR? There's so many things. As an HR leader, you can be doing compensation, employee relations, talent acquisition, learning and development. There's so many. So for me, myself, I really had to sit down and figure out, what aspect of HR do I really want to focus on? And another thing that I did is I reached out to my friends and my old colleagues, and I asked them, what am I good at? I think I'm good at this, but I'm not 100% sure. And I kind of landed into coaching by accident. So one of my old team members reached out to me and said, hey, Ariana, I lost my coach. They're not available anymore, and I'd love for you to coach me. And I said, well, I'm happy to talk to you anytime you want. But what I realized is that that was a skill that I had honed in over my 15 years as a leader. It came very naturally to me just to, jump on a call and talk and help and support and give some guidance and advice. But I never really thought that could be a service that I could give and extend to other individuals. So if someone is interested in kind of exploring a side hustle, I would encourage them to reach out to friends, family, people they've worked with, and kind of ask, what do you think I'm good at? What's something in either my personality or my skill that you think I should kind of double down on a little bit more? So that would be a couple of things I would say is, one, reach out to your current network and see if there's any others that they can connect you with. Two, figuring out really where your skills are and how you want to craft your services around them.
Awesome, awesome. So let's find out from our audience, where do they network, and have they already started networking or not? So leave us a line in the comments, and we'll definitely look at it. And it's definitely word of mouth. So let's share where we network and how it's been, how has been the experience in networking. And while doing that, please do hit the subscribe button. All right, Ariana. So, here is another aspect we need to discuss. Like the other day, we were talking
Right.
on the feedback. How do we address this problem of, some adults and some younger generations who have a kind of a struggle taking the feedback? So, how do we address that?
Yeah, it's, I think we were talking about this too, that feedback is hard. I don't know anyone who just loves constructive feedback all the time, right? I mean, the reality is that the way we perceive ourselves is very different than the way others perceive us, right? So sometimes I think it's too is about setting the stage of how you're giving feedback as well. One tip I will say is, no one wants to hear feedback from an individual that isn't open to their own feedback, right? So it's easier for us to accept feedback when we know the person that is giving it to us has our best interests at heart. And they also themselves are a very vulnerable person, right? So I would say, be mindful of that if you are giving feedback, that you're also open to that as well, because it is a two-way street. We all have things that we need to work on. And as far as folks taking feedback, I heard this from a leader once, and they said, not all feedback you need to take, right? Like, it's okay to take that feedback, sit with it for a few days, dissect it a little bit, and there may be some things that you may want to let go, and there's maybe some things that you want to actually take and implement. And also just be mindful that, if multiple people are saying the same thing or giving you kind of the same feedback, that there might be some truth to that. So I'll actually, if you're okay with that, I'd love to give you a story around feedback that I personally happened to me. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yes, yes, please go
Cool.
ahead.
Yeah. So I worked at I worked at an organization where I was in operations still. I had not made the transition to HR yet. And I was a new leader. And the leader that I was reporting into was pretty, I would say, stoic, very strong woman. And I think that as a young leader, I took that as an opportunity to emulate her and model her behavior. So because of that, we were opening up a new location. We had maybe, I don't know, close to 150 employees in this location. And every day I would go around and, check, the different departments, check in on people. And then maybe 6 months after that, the company would do these employee engagement surveys. So one day my manager, she's so sweet, her name is Megan, and she forwarded me my engagement survey, which, because technically I was overseeing the entire location, all 150 people had the opportunity to give me feedback. Right.
Mm.
So as she sends the email in her sweet way, she says, Ariana, when you read this, call me afterwards. And I said, oh, okay. So
That's okay.
so I sit down, I read the feedback, and I was really just blown away of having 150 people comment on me. And there were a lot of good things in that feedback. I'm a hard worker. They appreciate my attention to detail, but there were also things around, she's not approachable. She doesn't smile. She's too serious. She's not someone I really want to get to know further. What I realized is that I was creating distance between myself and my team members. And that's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to create closeness. I wanted people to come to me. And honestly, it was the thing, although it hurt, it was the thing I needed to change my leadership style. And from that day forward, I decided I'm going to change. These people are going to like me. So I would make it a point to go sit with them and talk to them, ask them how they're doing. And I got to know people, so I would say, they'd say, oh, my daughter's sick. And that gave me an opportunity to follow up and say, hey, how's your daughter doing? How's your husband? I didn't see you yesterday. I heard you were sick. How are you feeling? Is there anything I can help you with? And slowly I started to see my style change and the reaction that I was having to others, and they were to me. So it really was a starting point of my leadership style. And I've taken that with me so much that now, I started instituting something before I left corporate, which was wellness check-ins. So during COVID, I would have status meetings with my team at least once a week with each team member. And during one of those, I would say, we're not talking about work in this status meeting. Nothing about work. I just want to know, how are you doing? How's your mom doing? Did anyone get sick with COVID? How are you doing? Do you have everything you need? Do you have toilet paper? Remember, that was a big thing.
Oh my God. Yes, yes.
Right. And I would just talk about them the whole time. Tell me everything and anything that you think I need to know. And it really created, especially during such a stressful, overwhelming, just sad time that we all were dealing with during COVID, it allowed me to get closer to my team members. So feedback is tough, but I can tell you from my own personal experience, it really has been, it's changed me as a leader because I received it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing your own experience. That means a lot. Yeah. And do you think, Ariana, it's a good habit to have a regular scheduled feedback session so that nothing comes as a shocking or wait until a year-end assessment, the self-assessment and the team assessment and all the things which normally happens. So do you think setting aside a day or scheduling it as regularly as possible is a good idea for feedback?
I do. I think that, I think it's important to give people feedback on the spot. I think we've gotten away from it's just like, I have two children, and if my son forgot to put the dishes away, I'm not going to wait for the scheduled feedback time to talk about the dishes, right? It's probably the next day I'm going to say, "Hey, Tommy, you might have forgot the dishes last night. Just remember before you go to bed to put them away," right? So I think people expect to have regular ongoing feedback, and what I see, there's a lot of anxiety and stress around these performance reviews, right? Because we've waited all year to get
Yes.
back, right? So now the emotions of the employee is very heightened because they know they're going to get some constructive feedback. They're expecting this to be a very intense and stressful conversation, right? So my advice to leaders is give feedback regularly as it comes up, right? And another tip I would give to a leader is ask for feedback on yourself, right? I heard someone say this, and I believe it's so true. When you ask for feedback, you take power from that, for the feedback, right? If I'm asking, hey, is there anything I could do a little bit better on my next podcast, interview, I'm taking ownership of that feedback, right? I'm asking for it. And it also lessens the blow that I might feel, right, to my ego. But it puts me in a position of power. So that's what I would encourage leaders to do, is to give feedback regularly, one thing, and then two, be vulnerable enough to ask your employees for feedback. I heard someone say once, the best way to frame it is, hey, is there something that I can be doing for you like 10% better? Right? It just shows that, are there small things that I could be doing as a leader to better support you, please? It also allows the team member not to feel so stressed about it, because team members sometimes are like, oh, I don't want to give feedback to Ariana. I don't know if she's going to get angry. Maybe she'll retaliate against me, right? But the way I'm framing it is like, hey, is there just something 10% better I can do? Just a little bit. It kind of lowers the stress for the employee. And if team members see that I'm open to feedback, especially if I'm applying the feedback, right, they can see that it's a two-way street. I'm open to giving you feedback, but I'm also open to receiving it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it should be both ways. Feedback always works two ways. So that's when action and construction happens.
Action and construction happens. I love that. I'm going to steal that. That was really great.
Right, right. Yeah, that was it. And moving on to not so fun part of our conversation, more common these days than before, layoffs.
Mm,
I I am sure like many households have been affected by recent layoffs. Like earlier it used to be once in a while, every now and then, maybe one or two persons or people. So but these days the numbers have grown crazily. And I do not know whether it's going to continue that way or not. So how do we handle or tackle such situations?
yes, I mean, I think all of my friends and family and my colleagues are talking about layoffs that are happening. They're seeing it all over the news. And kind of to your point, every family is being affected in some way or the other. I think the first thing is check in on your friends. You know, one of the things I tried to do, and I think others have done for me in the past, is that if I know of someone either on LinkedIn or through social media, I will reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I'm not a recruiter, but I am here to support you in any way that I can, right? If there's someone in my network that you want an intro with, or you want me to look over your resume, if there's anything that I can do to help to support you so that you can land your next opportunity, please know that I'm open to doing that. So I think one, check in on your friends. I think if you are currently employed, I think it's important to prepare yourself. right? And there's many things that you can do to do that. One of the things I would say is make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date. Make sure that your resume is up to date. Start networking. Right now there are so many um, candidates, you know, um, in regards to open positions, right? So networking is really how individuals are being able to find their next opportunity. So I would encourage you to really focus on networking, even if you are employed right now. There's a lot of different organizations and networking groups. I would say to do that, and then just focus on your development. A lot of organizations are making cuts to their budget, and they're also making cuts to their learning and development budgets in particular. So take some ownership. If you feel like there's opportunity that on your end to develop more interviewing skills, maybe think about getting a coach or finding ways to strengthen your leadership skills or your professional skills, either on maybe executive presence or confidence, right? But really take this time to invest in yourself is what I would say. So those three things: really prepare yourself with LinkedIn, with your resume, focus on a networking strategy, a plan. And then the third, I would say, is make some personal development investment in yourself.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a more positive way to approach, because we do not know what's in store. So, yeah.
Right.
And would you also like to address on, let's assume, I mean, assuming that saturated job opportunities, is that a real thing or it keeps changing?
Saturated job opportunities. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a real thing as far as individuals applying. I mean, I know candidates who are applying for hundreds of jobs and they're not getting interviews for those jobs. And I know recruiters that are receiving hundreds, sometimes even thousands of applications, right? So absolutely, it's extremely competitive right now, and specifically for corporate roles, I would say. So networking is really something that is becoming a little bit more and more of a differentiator versus just putting an application that or connecting with the hiring manager on LinkedIn, where that might be a really great best practice 2 years ago, isn't necessarily really garnering any results this job market cycle.
Yeah, and also probably being open to other verticals, like do not stick to only yours, and maybe you could try in different verticals, probably even management or higher. So probably being open is another way to tackle it.
I would completely agree with you. There are some transferable skills. You may need to think about coupling that with a certification. So I do know some folks in the HR field that are entertaining cybersecurity roles, and they're getting some certifications. There are transferable skills, but you may need to couple that with maybe some technical skill training as well.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about technology, having technology and AI in the background, what about those who want to make a career in, say, more emotional side of the industry? What's your advice to them? Because it's all AI and technology these days, numbers, figures, and it's been so. So, what about those who really want to be on the human side,
On the
the
human side of things, yeah, and there's still such a need. I think that it's like, to your point, AI and chat GPT and I think that to your what you're saying, there's such a heightened focus on that, but at the end of the day, we are people and we're dealing with emotions and challenges, and that's not something that a bot is ever going to be able, they're never going to be able to fill in that gap. There's still a need, and I think we talked about too, what I'm seeing in the HR field is that a lot of our employees are dealing with just emotional stress, and they're looking for therapists, psychiatrists, and that field is, there's just not a lot of individuals or professionals in that field right now, and a lot of that focus or load is going on HR professionals, right? So yeah, we're in tough times right now, and we need to support one another. And I think there's absolutely lots of opportunity on the people side, on the emotional side for folks. And when I reach out to clients or clients reach out to me, their number one thing that they're looking for is emotional intelligence, is executive presence. And I'm not receiving inquiries around technical skills or AI training. It's really around those soft skills. So I would say, there's such an opportunity for us to hone in on that. I think we mentioned too, or you had made the comment that it's becoming like a bedroom society where children are spending more time in the bedroom and on their computers, and they're really losing a lot of those social skills. And those individuals are now coming into the workforce. So HR managers are really having to equip actually and train these employees on how to communicate, because unfortunately they don't not all of them have the necessary skills.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, interaction between in the team itself is kind of challenging sometimes.
It
So
is.
probably, as you said, networking, either online or in person, is a very good solution to start with.
Yes, it is. It is. And can I tell you a tip that I just recently learned that I love?
Yes, please.
Is that, networking can be stressful, especially if you're not um, accustomed to doing it regularly, right? I don't network all the time. Most of my networking happens virtually, but there is a level of stress that comes with networking in person. So I learned this trick, or I don't know if it's a trick, but a conversation starter. And I'd love for maybe you and I to try it out together if you're open to it.
Please, yes.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So it's called High Low Buffalo.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go first. So the high is something that I'm excited about or you're excited about. The second thing is a low, something that I'm worried about actually, in my life or that's happened in the week. And then buffalo is maybe something that no one knows, and maybe, it doesn't need to be a deep, dark secret, but just maybe something that isn't public to everyone. Okay. So that's high, low, buffalo. So I'll go first, if that's okay.
Yes,
So
please.
my high is that I was able to visit a dear friend in the hospital this week. And although it was a sad circumstance, it was high to me because since I've had my own business, I've been able to really be a better friend to the people around me. And so during the day, I was able to, around lunchtime, head to the hospital and really check in on my friend. And that wasn't something probably I'd be able to do 2 years ago with my busy corporate job. So it really helped me to appreciate, although being an entrepreneur is stressful and, it's busy work, it also has blessed me with so many opportunities to show up for other people. So that's my high. My low is that, I'm starting to pivot my business a little into more away from organizations and doing more coaching and more B2C kind of work. So that is stressing me out, to be honest with you, just kind of making that shift. So that's low, and I'm trying to work through that. And I'm thinking about getting a business coach who can kind of help me and support me in that. And my buffalo is that I really love to travel, and I haven't been able to. My son is actually graduating high school this year, and I want to surprise him with a trip to Thailand. So I'm hoping that I can do that. But I really love traveling and exploring different cultures and and trying different food. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that this fall.
Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. All right, I will go. My high is I recently started networking, so I'm really, really cherishing it. I get to meet so many people, and it took me to a CEO of Grand Prix of Long Beach. So that's the power of networking. So it has been amazing. So I do recommend it to everybody who can, just broaden your network
Right.
little by little. So that's really good. And low is a personal loss. So I do not want to ponder on that. Yeah, and Buffalo, I really do not know what to say here. Mm, maybe traveling to Europe. Maybe that's been yeah, it's been for a while that we've been planning. So hopefully soon. Yeah,
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for playing High Low Buffalo. And the first of all, I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
That's a lot to deal with. So
it
thank you
is.
for doing that.
It is. Yeah,
My prayers and and thoughts are with you and your family.
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mhm. No,
Uh,
this was fun. This game was really good.
Good.
I
So
think I should be playing with so many other people now.
good. It's and you could what's great about this networking or starter conversation is that normally if you're trying to have a conversation with someone you don't know, you may say, "Oh, have you ever watched this really popular Netflix show? I'm watching it. Have you seen it before?" And the other person will say, "No, I haven't." And it kind of shuts down the
Shuts
conversation.
down.
Now you're thinking about what other question do I have? But what we've created is we've created 6 questions or 6 threads that we can now discuss, right? We can talk about Europe now. We can talk about Thailand. We can talk about networking. We have so much
So
variety now in our conversation that we can and not just having superficial conversation, right? About how's the weather? Oh, it was raining today, and right. We can actually talk about some deep, meaningful things moving forward, and hopefully, it's a connection that you can continue to foster. So yeah. So that's my tip. I just learned it, and I've been talking to everyone about it because I think it's fantastic. So I hope the folks who are listening can utilize it.
absolutely. I think it becomes so much easier if you know, at least, as you said, 3, 4 things which you could talk, and yeah, it's fun. Right, right. All right, Ariana, is there anything else you would like to add from the HR point of view?
From the HR point of view, I guess I would just say that, HR is a very gratifying, fulfilling profession to get into, but it can be draining, help constantly in this mode of helping and supporting people. So I think for folks who are interested in HR or who are in HR, I would just tell them to make sure that they're caring for themselves, right? Making sure that you are also prioritizing your own needs and your own, self-worth and value is really important as well. So be sure to take care of yourself.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's such a meaningful and doable advice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. This is so much fun.
Yeah. So we have this fast 5 questions for you. So you
Okay.
can give me a word or a sentence long answer.
Okay.
All right. So what's your favorite free time activity?
Favorite free time activity is planting flowers. I find it so relaxing.
Oh, beautiful gardening. Yay. All right. What are you still working on as an entrepreneur?
Oh, so many things I'm working on. But I'm really excited that I'm launching a leadership journal
Mm-hmm.
that I'll be having posted to my website and folks will be able to purchase. And so I'm really excited about that.
So cool. What would you be if you were not what you are today?
Oh, if I was not doing this today, I would definitely be baking cookies for sure.
Oh, I'm sure to visit you someday. And what's the best advice you ever received?
That I'm good enough. I'm
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm good enough. I think sometimes there's such a I think the my personality is that I'm very ambitious. I like to figure things out and I like to go go go, but sometimes I feel like I'm chasing something. And I think the best advice that I received is that I'm good enough. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I don't necessarily need to chase things in order for me to feel more fulfilled in who I am as a person.
Beautiful. One word to describe you?
Oh man. One word to describe me. This is hard. I guess I would say I'm passionate about the things, in my life and when I'm passionate, I really like to put all of my love, my heart, my soul into it. So yeah, passionate is my word.
Fantastic, fantastic. That was so cool. Oh, Ariana, thank you so much for your time today and so much insights and pointers for our audience. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, a lot of us are valuing it.
Oh, good.
Thanks so much for being on the show, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.